Hi dears, welcome to today's session on magnetism. It is a core concept for IIT JEE NEET examination. It is also used for UPSC NDA and CU setting. Along with that, it also gives some idea related to NDA physics. So with your permission, I want to go with few questions which are very essential for your examination, which are giving boosting for your preparation. So with your permission, I want to start few key points. Then after I go with some important questions. So concept magnetic field due to a straight wire. So magnetic field due to a straight wire. I'm just giving some important formula concept. After that, I will go to the questions. So I don't want to waste your time. Just I'm revising the concept. After that, we will see MC questions for your examination point of view. So here the concept is magnetic field due to a straight wire. So for this concept, how we represent? It was represented as B equal to mu naught I 2 pi R. B equal to mu naught I 2 pi R. Where B is nothing but magnetic field, I is nothing but current. I is nothing but what? Current. So here, as per the formula concept, we will consider as B is proportional to I. B is proportional to I. At the same time, B is inversely proportional to distance. So that increasing current, B also increasing. If the distance is increasing, B is decreasing. So this is the concept from the formula. B is equal to mu naught I 2 pi R. Coming to second one, Biot-Savart law. So here, Biot-Savart law, it is represented as dB equal to mu naught 4 pi ideal sine theta by r square, where the change of the magnetic field is proportional to I, is proportional to theta, is proportional to length of the conductor, is inversely proportional to square of the distance. By analyzing this all, we got here dB equal to mu naught 4 pi ideal sine theta by r square. So here it depends on I, theta, length, and element, that is about the elemental length, and square of the distance. Where dB is maximum, when theta is 90 degrees, dB will be maximum. Coming to third concept, Ampere's circuit law. That is about we have closed circuit. In this closed circuit length is dl. In this closed circuit we have magnetic field, and this magnetic field is proportional to, is equal to current I. So that is when you remove this proportionality, then B dot dl equal to, we got a constant that is about the mu naught. So B dot dl equal to mu naught I. So here this is about the Ampere's circuit law. Coming to fourth core concept, circular loop. So here to represent circular loop, the magnetic field represented as B equal to mu naught I 2R. Mu naught I by 2R. If you have number of turns, the loops are many number of, that is represented by n, then B equal to mu naught number of turns into I by 2R. This is indicating number of turns. Coming to fifth concept, that is about the Lorentz force. Lorentz force is nothing but FVB. So here electric field concept, here we are going to consider. It is a Lorentz force concept for the force which is related to the magnetic field and particle velocity and charge, combination of electric and magnetic field. Here when a particle is revolving with a velocity, and that is about it followed the helical path. So here the magnetic force as per the Lorentz concept, that is about the F equal to QVB sine theta. Here R is nothing but as per the cyclotron, that is about the R equal to mv by bq. The time period is 2 pi m by bq, and frequency is bq by 2 pi m. Force on current carrying conductor, that is represented as F equal to BIL sin theta. It will be maximum when theta is 90 degrees. Torque on current loop. So torque is nothing but R cross F, that is about the torque tau equal to Niba sin theta. Niba sin theta. So here this is about the torque. Coming to earth magnetism that is about the BH equal to B cos theta. Here this is nothing but this is about the horizontal component, this is vertical component, and the downward of horizontal and vertical, and this we called as the inclined angle over the surface, inclination angle. So here this is about the geographical meridian and magnetic meridian. Between geographical meridian and magnetic meridian, whatever angle we have, that is called as angle of declination. Here angle of inclination. So here earth behave like a magnet. Cyclotron radius, that is about the R equal to mv by bq. Frequency, that is about the bq by 2 pi m. Galvanometer can be converted to ammeter. Galvanometer can be converted to voltmeter. Galvanometer is used to measure fuel current, small current. Galvanometer will be converted to ammeter when adding low resistance in parallel. This low resistance we call as shunt. That means galvanometer can be converted to ammeter by adding low resistance. This low resistance is called shunt in parallel. Galvanometer can be converted to voltmeter by adding high resistance. High resistance in series is nothing but conversion of galvanometer to voltmeter. Here is the first question as part of our lecture, which is question number 1 related to the magnetic field along a straight wire. A long straight conductor carries current I. What is the magnitude of magnetic field at a perpendicular distance R from the wire? So that is, we have a conductor. So in this conductor we need to find magnetic field. So here this is about the ampere loop. According to the ampere, it is creating ampere loop. So according to Ampere circular law, B dot dl equal to mu naught I. So here L is nothing but 2 pi r. So that finally B into 2 pi r equal to mu naught I, where B equal to mu naught I by 2 pi r. Relation between B and R. This is about a relation, the curved one. So here the answer is, that is about mu naught I by 2 pi r. This is a fundamental application of Ampere's law for a long straight current carrying wire. By drawing ampere loop of radius r around the wire, the line integral of the magnetic field is B dot dl equal to B dot 2 pi r. According to Ampere's circular law, it is equal to mu naught I. I is nothing but enclosed current. Therefore, B dot 2 pi r equal to mu naught I, B equal to mu naught I by 2 pi r. The direction of the magnetic field lines concentric circles around the wire given by right hand thumb rule. So here is a representation. Right hand thumb rule will give the information related to the field direction. Here is a question number 2 on force on a current carrying conductor in magnetic field. A straight conductor of length L carrying current I, length is L, current I, is placed in a uniform magnetic field P. The conductor makes an angle theta with the direction of magnetic field. What is the magnitude of the force experienced by the conductor? So here, the force experienced by current carrying conductor in a uniform magnetic field is given as F equal to ILB, where L is a length vector in the direction of current. The magnitude of force is F equal to BIL sin theta, BIL, where theta is the angle between direction of the current and magnetic field. Direction of the current and magnetic field. The force is maximum when the conductor is perpendicular to the magnetic field, and so when it is theta is 90 degrees, the force will be maximum. When theta is 0 or 180, it will be minimum. So your answer is, that is F equal to ILB sin theta, BIL sin theta. So here magnetic force, this is the conductor. In this conductor, how magnetic field is generated? If it is in the vector representation, F bar equal to I of L cross B, which is nothing but F equal to BIL sin theta. It will be maximum when theta is 90 degrees. It is minimum when theta is 0 or 180. So question number 3 related to the magnetic moment of current loop. A plain circular coil of n turns radius r, and carrying current I is placed in a uniform magnetic field B. The plane of the coil is perpendicular to the magnetic field. What is the magnetic moment of the coil? So here is answer is M equal to Ni pi r square. How? Explanation. The magnetic moment of a current loop is defined as the product of current flowing through the loop and the area of the loop multiplied by the number of turns of the coil. Simply, in single turn, M equal to Ia. For number of turns, M equal to Nia, where N is nothing but number of turns, where A is nothing but pi r square. What is that one? Pi r square. So that M equal to Nia, N equal to pi r square. It is equal to pi r square. Pi r square N equal to, so that is about Ni pi r square. The direction of the magnetic field 9398886. Go. So the direction of the magnetic moment is perpendicular to the plane of the loop given by right hand rule. So that is the orientation of the coil related to the external magnetic field determines the torque experienced by the coil, but not the intrinsic moment. So your answer is M equal to Ni pi r square. So here the current loop behave like a miniature of magnet, that means modified magnet. So here right hand thumb rule, thumb is indicating current and the curl fingers are indicating about the magnetic field. So here the direction is clockwise. So here the external field was intrinsic. What is the external field? Outside field. B determines will experience, not inherent. M intrinsic dipole responsibility. So here the concept is, formula is M equal to Ia, number of turns, that is about the M equal to Nia, where A is nothing but pi r square, so that Ni pi r square. Question number 4 related to the torque and magnetic dipole in a magnetic field. Question is one. A circular coil with a magnetic moment M is placed in a uniform magnetic field P. What is the expression for the torque tau acting on the coil? So here the answer is torque tau equal to M cross B. A current loop in a magnetic field behave like a magnetic dipole. When a magnetic dipole with magnetic moment M is placed in a uniform magnetic field, it experiences a torque that tends to align the magnetic moment with the magnetic field. The vector expression for this torque is given by the product of m cross b. The magnitude of the torque tau equal to mb sin theta, where theta is the angle between m and b. So you can see the representation. Torque tau equal to mb, torque tau equal to mb sin theta along with the theta. So you can see torque depends on m and b. So it is creating torque. Question number 5 related to the work done in a rotating magnetic dipole. What is the work done in a rotating a magnetic dipole of magnetic moment m through an angle theta from its equilibrium position? So here is answer is W equal to mb of 1 minus cos theta. The potential energy U of a magnetic dipole moment m in a uniform magnetic field B is given by U equal to minus m dot B, where it is minus mb cos theta, vector concept. So theta is the angle between m and b. The equilibrium position when theta is 0. U is initial when U is initial minus mb. So theta is 0. So potential energy will be minimum, that is minus mb cos theta, that is about minus mb. When rotated through angle theta, that is u sin theta, that u finally will be minus mb cos theta. The work done rotating dipole is the change in potential, that is initial and final. Final and initial minus mb cos theta minus of minus mb. So that is about mb cos theta plus mb, which is about mb of 1 minus cos theta. So here the work done, that is uf minus ui. What is uf? Minus mb cos theta, ui minus mb. After resetting the data, then you will get minus mb, minus of minus, that is about mb of 1 minus cos theta. This is about alpha is 0. This is about when alpha is theta. Angle is theta, angle is 0. Question number 6, Hall effect. When a current carrying conductor is placed in the magnetic field perpendicular to the current, a potential difference develops across the conductor perpendicular to both the current and magnetic field. This phenomena is what? That is called as Hall effect. What is that? Hall effect. The Hall effect describes the generation of voltage difference across the electrical conductor perpendicular to both electric current flowing through the conductor and an applied magnetic field perpendicular to the current. This occurs because the magnetic Lorentz force acts on the charge carriers moving in the magnetic field, pushing them to one side of the conductor and creating a charge separation. This effect is used to determine a type of charge carriers, either N or P type, their concentration, and to measure magnetic field strength. So here the representation, Hall effect diagram. So you can see here that is about the potentially developed across the conductor. So determine nature of charge carrier, either P or N, measure the concentration and field. So here, what is the use of Hall effect? Determine nature of charge carriers, measuring strong fields. Question number 7 related to the BHM relation. The question is, which of the following relation correctly describe the relationship between the magnetic field intensity H, magnetization M, and magnetic flux density T in a material? So the answer is, that is B equal to mu naught of H plus M. The magnetic flux density B inside a material is the sum of magnetic field, external magnetizing field, and magnetization. So the external field contributes, what did it contribute? Mu H, mu naught H, and this is mu naught m. So what we common? What is the common? Mu naught. So that mu naught of H plus m, where mu naught is nothing but permeability of free space. So this is about representation. Magnetic field intensity H by external applied, magnetization M by internal momentum, internal moment, where mu naught H, this is external, internal moment mu naught M. So here magnetic field intensity mu naught H, magnetization mu naught M. After it is sum, the field density is sum of both, so that you will get mu naught of H plus M. Coming to question number 8 related to susceptibility and permeability. If chi is the magnetic susceptibility and mu r is a relative magnetic susceptibility of material, which are the following relation is correct, and that is both mu r equal to 1 plus chi. Mu r equal to magnetic susceptibility is what? Chi equal to either I by H or M by H. It is a ratio between M by H. It is a dimensionless quantity that describes how much a material will become magnetized in an applied magnetic field. Relative permeability, magnetic permeability represented by mu r, is a ratio of the permeability of the material to permeability of free space. So that is mu r equal to mu by mu naught. So here from the previous concept, B equal to mu naught of H plus M. So represent the things like M equal to, so that B equal to mu naught of H plus chi H, which is equal to mu naught H of 1 plus chi. So that after the relation B equal to mu H, so mu naught mu R H, after reshuffling the data, that is mu naught H of 1 plus chi, we simplify as mu R equal to 1 plus chi. So here B equal to mu naught of H plus M, M equal to chi H or chi M. So therefore here you can replace here. So mu naught of H plus chi H, M equal to chi H, then B equal to mu naught H of 1 plus chi. So your answer we got, that is about mu R equal to 1 plus chi. Mu naught mu R equal to H, so that mu naught H equal to 1 plus chi. So this one and this one will be out, H will be cancelled. So mu R equal to 1 plus chi. Are you understood? Not understood? Let's look here. First B equal to what? Mu naught of 1 plus, sorry, mu naught of H plus M. Then M equal to what? Chi H. Replace in formula, that is mu naught of H plus, in the place of M, chi H. Then M equal to what? M equal to, just now we already saw, that is chi H. Now B equal to mu naught H, simplification. Then what is this here? What is common? Mu naught H you got taken common. Mu naught H is taken common, that is about 1 plus chi, which is equal to B. B equal to what? B equal to mu naught mu or H. So mu naught H will be out, then mu r equal to 1 plus chi. Question number 9 related to characteristic of diamagnetic material, which is the following statement is true for the diamagnetic substance. Diamagnetic substance characteristics question, that is option D. They are weakly repelled by magnetic field. Diamagnetic materials are characterized by weakly repelled by magnetic field. They have a small negative susceptibility. Susceptibility is negative and small for the dia. Susceptibility is positive and small for the para. Susceptibility positive and large for the ferro. So here diamagnetic materials are characterized by being weakly repelled by magnetic field. They have a small negative magnetic susceptibility. They do not have permanent magnetic dipole moment. The diamagnetism arises from the orbital motion of electron which create induced magnetic dipoles induced dipole moments dipoles that opposes external magnetic field, which is nothing but Lenz concept. Question number 9. The representation of the diamagnet. See, you can see in the strong magnetic field it is repel, weakly repel. Examples were bismuth, copper, water, they are weakly repel. So this is a relation. So that is induced moment opposes the field. That is about the Lenz law. We will see next here. Paramagnetic materials were strongly attracted. Diamagnetic materials are strongly repel. Okay. Dia means repel, para means attracted, ferro means strongly attracted. Question number 10 related to Curie law for magnetic materials. Question is what? Curie's law states that for a paramagnetic material, its magnetic susceptibility is, just now we discussed susceptibility is small and negative. For dia, small and positive. For the para, large and positive for the ferro. So here the answer is it is inversely proportional to temperature. So that is its magnetic susceptibility chi is how chi is related to the temperature. Curie law describes the behavior of paramagnetic material. It states that magnetic susceptibility chi of a paramagnetic substance is inversely proportional to its absolute temperature, where mathematically it is represented chi equal to C by T. C is nothing but Curie constant. This means that the temperature increases. This means that as the temperature increases, thermal agitations of the atoms increases, making it harder for external magnetic field to align the magnetic moments, thus decreasing the susceptibility. Question number 10 representation Curie law. Curie law is what? That is about the magnetization. That is magnetization is proportional to H by 8. Remove proportionality M H by T. You will get this one. So here this is about the Curie concept. Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Concept. According to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, the induced EMF in a coil is given by, how it is given by. So that is the rate change of magnetic flux linked with the coil. So here Faraday's first law of electromagnetic induction states that whenever the amount of magnetic flux linked with the circuit changes as an EMF is induced in the circuit. Faraday's second law quantifies this, stating that the magnitude of the induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the circuit. If there are n turns in the coil, the induced EMF equal to minus n d phi by dt, where phi b is magnetic flux, negative sign represent Lenz law. So here you can see that is induced EMF equal to minus n d phi by dt. It depends on the induced EMF depends on d phi by dt. Depends on rate change of magnetic flux. D phi by dt versus d phi by dt. Okay, clear? That is about minus or plus. Slow. Here minus indicating that one. Slow character means opposing character. 12th one regarding to the Lenz one. Lenz law is a consequence of the conservation of what? That is the answer is conservation of energy. Lenz law states that the direction of the induced current is always opposes the cause that produces it. This opposition ensures that the induced current does not aid the change in the flux, magnetic flux, which would lead to an ever increasing magnetic field and current, creating out of nothing. Thus, Lenz's law is direct manifestation of the principle of conservation of energy. For example, to move a magnet toward a coil, action work must be done against the repulsive force generated by induced current. This work is then converted to electrical energy. So you can see that is magnetic character, magnet enter, magnet leaving. So here opposing character, so with n pole is induced, that is magnet enter. When n pole is induced, it is opposed. Opposition directly to the south pole induced. So here Lenz's law is conservation of energy. 13th one, motional EMF in rotating rod. A metallic rod of length is rotated with an angular velocity omega, with its one end hinged at the center and the other end at the circumference of the circular metallic ring of radius L. A uniform magnetic field B parallel to the axis of rotation is present everywhere. What is the induced EMF between the center and the metallic ring? So your answer is 1 by 2 B L square omega. Consider a small element dr of the rod at a distance r from the center. Its linear velocity v equal to omega r. The motional EMF induced across this element, that is dE equal to v cross b dot dr. Since v is perpendicular to b, dr is along r, d equal to bv dr. Replace v equal to r omega, so that integration 0 to L br omega dr, br omega integral 0 to L r dr x n plus 1 by n plus 1 formula, so that you will get 1 by 2 b L square omega. So here you can see detailed diagram, that is the diameter of the rod, diameter or the length we have taken, that is about there is length, that is L, radius r, f6 and current I, field B. So specifically V equal to R omega, so integration 0 to L B R omega dr. After simplification you will get 1 by 2 B omega L square. Question number 14 related to the eddy current. Eddy currents are produced when a conductor, the answer is a magnetic flux. A magnetic flux linked with a conductor changes due to relative motion or change in magnetic field. Eddy currents are loops of electric current induced with ball conductor by a changing magnetic field in the conductor according to Faraday's laws of induction. They can be caused by relative motion between the conductor and a magnetic field. A changing magnetic field can change, example, alternating current in a nearby coil. The key is change in magnetic flux through the conductor, which can happen if the field itself changing, or the conductor is moving in a non-uniform field or moving in or out in a uniform field. So you can see here solid conductor plate, it is placed, so that is it is placed between the strong magnetic field, then it is creating a sensation, and that we call as the eddy current. Question number 15 related to the energy stored in inductor. What is the energy stored in an inductor of inductance length when a current I flows through it? The answer is what? That is about 1 by 2 Li square. When a current flows through an inductor, magnetic field is established within it. The energy stored in this magnetic field. To establish the current, work must be done against the self-induced EMF. The rate at which work is done, that is power equal to E into I, induced EMF equal to self inductance, that is L di by dt. So the total energy stored in this power over the time is about P dt integration. So that is about 0 to I. P is what? P equal to, that is, sorry, P equal to L di. What is L? So sorry, P equal to VI. You can generally power equal to potential or voltage. Here induced EMF EI. E is nothing but L di by dt. So that after replacing we will get L I square by, that is x to the power of n plus 1 by n plus 1. So that L by 2. So finally it is 1 by 2 L I square. Okay, wait, I will do. So here P equal to epsilon I or induced EMF EI. Induced EMF equal to L di by dt into I. So now what we can consider? We will consider integration from 0 to I. So that we take L is outside. Then what we have? Li di. So here with respect to I we are going to consider. So that is about x to the power of n plus 1 by n plus 1, that is L into I square by 2, which is nothing but 1 by 2 L I square. So here magnetic field established storing energy, that is work done against self-inductance, we can consider as L di by dt. So formula is, so that is power, rate of work is nothing but power equal to induced EMF or self EMF, that is into I, that is L di by dt into I. After integration we will get 1 by 2 L I square. So question number 16 related to the magnetic field at the center of a circular coil. A circular coil of radius R carrying a current I is placed in a vacuum. What is the magnetic field at its center? Current I, radius R. So your answer is mu naught I by 2R. The magnetic field at the center of a circular current carrying coil can be derived using Biot-Savart law. dB equal to IdL sin theta by R square. For a small current element dl on the circumference, the magnetic field dB it produces at the center is perpendicular to both dl and R. Since all dB contribution point in the same direction, perpendicular to the plane of the coil, they simply add up. So that is mu naught 4 pi IdL sin theta. Theta is nothing but 90 R square. So that is mu naught by 4 pi IdL sin theta by R square. By integration you will get mu naught by 4 pi integration, this is 2 pi R, 2 will be cancelled, so mu naught I by 2R. So this is about magnetic field of circular coil. As per the Biot-Savart law, you will get mu naught I by 2R. Question number 17, as per the comparison of self and mutual inductance. Which statement is generally true regarding to the self inductance and mutual inductance? So here is the answer, that is about M equal to K into root L1 L2, where K is the coefficient of coupling and which is less than 2, greater than 1, less than, greater than 0, less than 1. Self-inductance refers to property of a single coil to oppose a change in current flowing through itself. Mutual inductance refers to the property of two coils where a change in current in one coil induces an EMF in the other. The relationship between them of mutual and self, that is M equal to K into root L1 L2. Here K is a coefficient of coupling which indicate how effectively a magnetic flux from one coil links with the other. Its value range from 0 to 1. So your answer is, that is option C. So you can see here self-inductance produced in single coil, and mutual, because of this one here it is produced, so this is called mutual inductance. So the relation is K under root of L1 L2. Question number 18 related to the magnetic field due to toroid. A toroid with n turns has an average radius R and carries a current I. What is the magnetic field strength inside the toroid along its mean circumference? Here is the answer, mu naught Ni by 2 pi R. For toroid, Ampere's law is used. Ampere loop of radius R, the average radius passing through the core of the toroid encloses all n turns. The line integral of magnetic field, that is beta dl, equal to B into 2 pi R. So as you know, the total current is equal to Na. So that B dot 2 pi R equal to mu naught Ni. So after simplifying, B equal to mu naught Ni by 2 pi R. The magnetic field is confined almost entirely within the toroid's core and zero outside. So you can see this is schematic diagram of toroid, and you can see the answer is, this is about Ampere's. Okay, question number 19. Energy density, and based on energy density of magnetic field. What is the energy density? Energy per unit value of a magnetic field B in a medium with permeability mu. So here is the answer is P square. Here is the answer is B square by 2 mu. The energy stored per unit volume, that is energy density in a magnetic field, is given by B square by 2 mu, where B is the magnetic field strength, mu is the permeability of the medium. Alternatively, it can also express as U equal to 1 by 2 BH. U equal to B 1 by 2 mu H square, where H is magnetic field intensity, which is B equal to mu H. Yes, B equal to what? Mu H. So that 1 by 2 BH means B equal to, you can replace B equal to mu H and H, that is 1 by 2 mu H square. So you can see that is about the energy density, which we consider as B square by 2 mu. Question number 20 related to the magnetic hysteresis. The phenomena of magnetic hysteresis is observed. Where hysteresis is observed? So the answer is, it is observed in ferromagnetic material. Hysteresis observed in ferromagnetic material. Magnetic hysteresis is a lagging of magnetization M behind magnetizing field H in a ferromagnetic material. When a ferromagnetic material is subjected to magnetizing field that is first increased, then decreased, and finally reversed, its magnetization does not follow the same path. The result in a hysteresis loop on the BH curve showing remanence. Remanence means what? Retained magnetization even after the field is removed, and coercive field required to demagnetize. This phenomena is characteristic of ferromagnetic material due to the presence of magnetic domains. Diamagnetic and paramagnetic material do not exhibit hysteresis because their magnetization is directly proportional to applied field. So here you can see, coming to question number 21 related to the tangent galvanometer principle. The tangent galvanometer works on the principle. So here is the answer is, the tangent of the angle of deflection of the compass needle is proportional to ratio of the magnetic field produced by current to the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field. In a tangent galvanometer, the coil is placed in the magnetic meridian. So the magnetic field produced by the current is perpendicular to the horizontal component of Earth magnetic field BH. The compass needle aligns itself with the resultant magnetic field. If theta is the angle of deflection of the needle, then tan theta equal to BC by BH, where BC is nothing but mu naught Ni by 2R, where N is nothing but number of turns, I is nothing but 2R BH by mu N tan theta. So you can see tangent galvanometer principle, that is BH, this is a relation to this coil, and deflector, this is nothing but hysteresis slope. It shows only in ferromagnetic. Question number 22 on electromagnetic damping. Electromagnetic damping is direct application of what? That is Lenz law. Electromagnetic damping refers to the opposition to motion caused by induced eddy current. When a conductor like the coil of galvanometer moves in a magnetic field, eddy current are induced in it. According to Lenz's law, this induced current will create a magnetic field that opposes the motion that caused them. This opposing motion acts as a damping force, quickly bringing the moving part to rest without acceleration. This principle is widely used in galvanometer, speedometer, and braking systems in trains. That is about damping related to eddy current. So you can see I is proportional to tan theta. Eddy current is generated induced between two strong fields. You can see here moving place induced eddy current. Eddy current induces opposing magnetic field. So here question number 23, transformer working principle. A transformer works on the principle of what? So here is the answer, that is about mutual induction. A transformer is a device that changes in an alternating voltage from one value to the another, stepping up, stepping down. It consists of two coils, one is primary and secondary, wound on a common soft iron core. When an alternating current flows through the primary coil, it produces continuously changing magnetic flux. This changing flux is linked with the secondary coil through the core, inducing an alternating EMF in the secondary coil. This phenomenon, where a change in current in one coil induces an EMF in adjacent coil, is known as mutual inductance. So here you can see there are two coils, one is primary and secondary coil. So this based on mutual induction principle, transformer is working. Question number 24 on electric magnetic field lines differences. Which of the following statement correctly differentiates electric fields from magnetic field? So your answer is electric field lines. Electric field lines originate from positive charge and terminate at negative charges. Magnetic field lines always closed loops or always form closed loops. Electric field lines originate from positive charge and terminate on negative charge. They do not form closed loop. They do not form closed loop as there are distinct sources and sinks. Monopoles are existed in electric field, but whereas magnetic field do not have distinct starting or ending points. Magnetic monopoles do not exist according to current understanding. They always form continuous closed loops emerging from North Pole and entering the South Pole externally and continuing within the magnet from south to north. Therefore, the answer is C. Electric field lines and magnetic field lines. You can see here they are open, these are closed one. Electric field lines start from positive and at negative. There is a existing monopoles. This is about the source, this is about the sink. Positive is source, negative is sink. Coming to the magnet, this is about the closed loop cell forming. Magnetic field lines are always closed loop, they form continuous path. Breaking a magnet, they do not form in the single pole, always existed by dipole. So, breaking a magnet does not isolate poles. No magnetic poles, monopoles are found. So here, question number 25. Magnetic shielding is what? Which of the following material, based on magnetic shielding, which of the following material is a best suited for shielding instrument from external magnetic field? The answer is, what is that? C. Magnetic shielding is the process of diverting external magnetic field from sensitive region of instrument. This is typically achieved using material with high magnetic permeability, which can collect and channel magnetic field lines through themselves, thereby reducing the field intensity in the region they enclose. Soft iron is a ferromagnetic material with a very high magnetic permeability. When placed around an area, it provides a path of flow reluctance for magnetic field lines, causing them to concentrate within the soft iron rather than penetrating the shielded area. Copper and aluminum are non-magnetic or known as dia or paramagnetic material offer very poor magnetic shielding. Glass is also one of the non-magnetic shielding. So, shielding external field. Which of the following material is the best suited for shielding instrument from external? So here, copper and aluminum are the non-magnetic material. Means they are dian. So here, the scenario you can see, non-magnetic enclosure like copper and aluminum, they are sensitive, and copper enclosure external magnetic field lines. So copper and aluminum enclosures, you can see there is a poor shielding. If you are taking copper and aluminum, this is the poor shielding. But when you are coming to the, it is the iron one, there is a high magnetic permeability, so that the shielding effect will be more. So soft irons, high magnetic permeability, provide a path least resistant for external lines, concentrating the channeling them away from the sensitive interior instrument. Non-magnetic material is transferred to the field. So here your answer is about soft iron. Which of the following material best suited for shielding instrument from external magnetic field? That is about soft iron. This is, see, these are the magnetism principles are using using Israel, so they built their defense system, that is about Iron Dome. Israel Iron Dome is based on most of these laws of magnetism. This is not only for not only for IIT JEE. This chapter is best suited for the NEET preparation. It is also best for the CU set and also very important for NDA Foundation Physics. So it is for IIT JEE, NEET, NDA, Physics and CU set. Not only for state exam like EPSET and MSET. Thank you.